Hey, this is Paul McGuire up here in the mountains, as close to paradise as you can get. As I have been doing research this week, Pope Francis addressed the United Nations and gave a message, which I call the Gospel of Sustainable Development. In addition, he addressed the U.S. government, in which many of our politicians were in tears. I wonder what they were in tears over. The loss of wealth to the middle class, or in tears? I don't know what the tears were for, but they certainly weren't deserved tears. The Pope is talking about sustainable development. That's his message to the United Nations. The United Nations and the global elite have organized around the concept of sustainable development, and they plan by 2030 to radically transform the world according to their master plan built around sustainable development. Well, what is this plan? Sustainable development is a fancy word for wealth redistribution. In other words, we're going to take all the money from the hard-working middle class in America, the hard-working lower class in America and Europe and around the world, and we're going to redistribute the wealth of the hard-working people in a socialist mechanism to, quote, theoretically solve man's problems. The only problem in that equation is that the 1%, the elite, own 99% of the wealth. So the intentions are entirely misdirected. It should be the 1% having their wealth redistributed, not the 99% of the poor and the middle class that are the victims of this global feudal state which is emerging. Now, what is the plan? Sustainable development, we've outlined what that is. But really, sustainable development, environmentalism, Agenda 21 are not what they seem to be. They pretend to be good things that will positively transform the world. When in reality, when you look behind the masquerade, Agenda 21 and sustainable development are not only not good things, they're evil things, and they will be the very mechanisms that usher in a global dictatorship that will be the return of ancient Babylon that we saw in the book of Genesis. Nimrod was the creator of Babylon in the ancient Testament, in the Old Testament. And Nimrod built the world's first Babylonian system, which consisted of a global government, a global religion, and a global economic system. This is what the global elite want right now. And they're ready to use chaos or crisis as a mechanism of radical transformation to take the world into a global government, global economic system, and a global religion. In other words, Babylon, as the Bible predicted, is going to return. Now, it's vital that you understand what the return of Babylon means for your life and your family's life. In a new book I have written with my co-author, Troy Anderson, a Pulitzer Prize nominated journalist, this new book called The Babylon Code will be out any day. And you need to get a copy as soon as possible, because in this book, The Babylon Code, we carefully document from mainstream sources this master plan to build a new global order that will be the Babylon of the Old Testament returning in the last days as predicted by the ancient prophets in the Bible. The world is not going on a random accidental course. The world is going towards a targeted, specific destination. And what this will do ultimately, as Babylon is reborn and comes alive again, we will see a one-world cashless society. We will see electronic currency in the form of what is called the Mark of the Beast. We will see a head of a one-world religion that is antichrist in nature, headed up by the false prophet. And we will see an antichrist who is a charismatic world leader who will rule this global government. Many, many people are being deceived externally by a great spiritual deception that's going on. and tragically many Christian leaders are being deceived. We wrote the Babylon Code to unmask the deception. Jesus Christ said, "The truth shall set you free." So we want to present the truth in the book, the Babylon Code, that will set you free. But you can't get the truth unless you read it. Tragically, the media hides the truth. Many religious denominations and preachers, for whatever reason, are not really giving you the truth. Only when you know the truth can you be set free. Go to my website, paulmcguire.us. We have tons of free articles, and find out about the Babylon Code. God bless you. I'm Paul McGuire.